Well, there's the spring lamb, which is kind of the most sort of popular seasonal meat at the moment. And then we do a lot of barbecue stuff this time of year. Things like just marinated sort of kebabs, that kind of thing. A lot of steak, that sort of thing. But all of the game is out of season now, so we were doing stuff like venison and wood pigeon, that sort of thing. But that's kind of out now, and we're in with the barbecue stuff. I guess traditionally at Easter you'd cook lamb, and then probably roast, do some sort of lamb roast. There's quite a nice Jamie Oliver stuffed leg of lamb recipe I quite like to do, which involves tunnel boning the leg of lamb. So you take the bone out and then you stuff it with things like pancetta and anchovies, pine nuts, that sort of thing. That's quite nice. Or we do like a noisette of lamb, which is the loin, and you take the bones out and roll it, and you can stuff those as well. They're quite nice to do at Easter. Depends on your budget, really. I mean, we sell a lot of pork shoulder on the bone, which people tend to do for pulled pork. That's quite popular at the moment. So you slow cook a shoulder of pork for a long time, and then you can do pulled pork with that. Or if you wanted to spend a bit more, a fillet of beef is always good. We do beef Wellingtons here as well. We do them to order. So if people have got like a dinner party planned, we can make sort of little beef Wellingtons for people. In reality, the fat is where most of the flavour is, and the fattier cuts tend to be the cheaper ones. So really it's kind of the opposite, but the more expensive cuts, the leaner ones like fillet of beef or rack of lamb, those are more tender cuts. They don't require as much cooking. You can just throw a rack of lamb in the oven and 20 minutes later it's done. Whereas with like a shoulder of lamb, which would be more cheaper, you have to spend more time on it, but the results tend to be pretty good. Well, say you've got your meat from the butchers and you want to prepare it for cooking. I think something that a lot of people forget to do is if you leave it out long enough for it to reach room temperature, it cooks more evenly. That's something that a lot of people forget to do, but I think it's quite important. And marinating. I guess sometimes people are sort of like, can't be bothered to make like a marinade, but just a bit of olive oil and some garlic and some salt and pepper and some rosemary will go a long way with like a piece of beef, for example, that you want to roast. It sort of depends what it is. I mean, I guess the advantage of slow cooking is that you don't need to worry about overcooking it. So, because the idea is that you cook it long and slow. So the longer you cook it, the better. If you're doing shoulder of lamb or stewed beef of some kind. But with something like fillet of beef or steak, I always or like a joint of beef, like a topside or rolled sirloin. I think it's always better to undercook it and then leave it to rest. If you're worried about, oh, should I take it out, shouldn't I? I think it's always best to just take it out, wrap it in foil, cover it, and it will carry on cooking itself. I think that's better than overcooking, because I think there's nothing worse than an overcooked steak. The first benefit is traceability. You can go to a butcher's and you can say, where's this lamb from? And you can say, oh, it's from our farm in Dorset, and you know, they've got all the paperwork there. You can see exactly where it's from, and you can see that it's come from a good farm, and it's had a good life, and it's happy meat, which tastes better, I think. Whereas in the supermarket, you don't really know. There's a much longer chain, and that's where the whole horse meat scandal thing came from, because it was a very long chain, and you know, there's no way of tracing where that meat comes from. So that's the first benefit. Also, I think it's good to support local business rather than the big corporations that, you know, don't need the money. And farmers as well. It's good to support farmers that are doing a good job, and if more people bought from butchers, then we perhaps wouldn't have the sort of the problems we're having with the environmental problems we have with the mass sort of farming and the meat industry.